Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is November the 12th, 2018. Just like the shirt says, strong hand, buy and hold, long-term thinking, unconfiscatable. And very important for this show, very important to remember this line, Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Because we're going to be talking about an altcoin out there that's, some people, they think it is the next Bitcoin, or it is the real, the nonsense you hear about the Bcash. So the great Rocky Palumbo is here. I know everybody loves his down-to-earth technical chats that he brings, and I love to have him here. Rocky, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me back, Adam.
Well, for a long time now, you have been outspoken about Bcash. You have been warning people about Bcash. And let's start from the beginning. Why have you been warning people about Bcash, and how does that play into the current situation?
Well, it's just not a good project from the get-go. And, Bitcoin is all about consensus. If you have a good idea, it gets consensus and it gets implemented into Bitcoin. If you don't have a good idea, it doesn't make it in, and you need to think up a better idea. Or, like you said about Craig Wright the other day in your show, I think it was yesterday, he just, stomped his feet and did a temper tantrum and just is, coming off with his own set of rules for the Bcash chain. This is what, Roger and Jihan did with Bitcoin Cash. They couldn't get what they wanted into Bitcoin through consensus mechanism. So they just forked the software and forked the blockchain and did, just went their own way, which is perfectly fine in the world of, open source software, but, it's not Bitcoin.
Indeed. And let's go back in time and talk about the way they forked off. And this is from Matt Odell. He says, the beauty of minority forks and altcoins is they provide a real world test bed to prove our theories when debate stalls. We warned that bigger blocks were a massive attack vector. We debated for years. Finally, Bcash crew forked off. Now they are experiencing it firsthand. So they wanted bigger blocks. They forked off peacefully. Now they have bigger blocks. And it has brought about this situation. Explain how it has brought about this situation.
Well, I don't know what you mean by that question. Explain what about it?
Well, he says that he implies that the bigger block situation has given Craig Wright fake Satoshi the opening to do this. That if this was if this was smaller block, this couldn't be done to Bitcoin, basically.
No, not really. I mean, it has been attempted in Bitcoin many times. I mean, I could show you. I plan to show you here some different projects that were started in 2014, 16, 17, that were basically doing the same thing to Bitcoin as what fake Satoshi is trying to do in Bitcoin Cash. But it's not really the block size that is that's somehow allowing it to happen. It could happen anyway. I mean, all you have to do is not like what's going on in Bitcoin. You write a node with your own rules, what you think they should be, and put it on the network. If you can get enough support, you could sway the network to start following your rules. This has happened many times in Bitcoin. It's just that they never gained any ground at all because of hash rate and stuff, which we're going to talk about here in a moment.
The bigger blocks does not give them the way that he's wants to have this hash war. This doesn't help him in any way, the bigger blocks, because that has been implied, and I wanted to clear that up.
It might in some way, I don't know, but the overall way he's attacking the network or really trying to sway the network to work by his rules, what he thinks Bcash should be. You really don't need big blocks, small blocks, medium blocks. It doesn't really matter. You just need to have enough nodes with your rules and enough hash power mining by those rules.
So I'm interested. Since you said you wanted to show how this has been attempted before in Bitcoin, I want to see this. I want to see and why it was not able to succeed, and if such an attack would be able to succeed in the future. But again, a lot of people are saying, there's some people are saying, oh, this is such an original idea, what he's doing. But you're saying this has been tried before.
Exactly. I've been hearing the same thing there, that, Craig Wright is a genius for thinking this all up and what have you. And no, this is old.
Yeah, in fact, that Vin Armani guy said that he was a genius for this. Yes, in fact, you're correct. So yeah, show us the that this has happened before in Bitcoin.
Okay, so in 2015, in August of 2015, there was this project called Bitcoin XT, and Roger supported this project. He said Bitcoin XT was better than Bitcoin, and or I'm sorry, King of the Trolls.
No, you can say, yeah. Okay. I got to be careful with saying that stuff.
All right, so he supported this project, and you can see it did get up to about 1,100 nodes, but they couldn't get the hash power to mine by these rules. So it just kind of, petered away and went off to zero. Or I think there might be one. I think actually there was one node still running this code on the Bitcoin chain.
Yeah, I think there is actually. I checked that site today. Yeah. Okay, so they would have needed to convince a bunch of miners at that point.
Yes, because you not only need like the nodes out there enforcing the rules, you need to have miners mining by those rules. And so that's the traction they never got, which is different in the case that we're looking at this week on the 15th with fake Satoshi. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But let's look at another example here. After Bitcoin XT came Bitcoin Classic. And this came out in January of 2016. And you see it got a lot more nodes. It got up to like the 2,300 nodes. But it couldn't get the hash power to mine under these rules. And so it just kind of fell away again to zero. And that's not the last time. Then came along, actually, this started before that last one. This started in December of 2015, but it didn't really gain any traction until the summer of 2017. And now this project really made a lot of noise in the space. I heard way more about this than any other project.
It's Bitcoin Unlimited, right?
This is Bitcoin Unlimited.
Yeah, that's the one. It's King of the Trolls supported that one too, I believe.
Yes, it's not the one. It's the one of many he supported.
Yes.
Anything that comes up that says it's better than Bitcoin, Roger's right there to stand behind it. And so this one, although they made the most noise about this one, you could see here that it got the least amount of node support. And again, it couldn't get any miner support, and it dwindled away once again to zero. So that's kind of the history there. I just wanted to go over to show that this is nothing new in the crypto space. So now let's look at, go ahead.
Well, then I think they never got to the point that he claims he's at now, where he's going to attack the other side. I think some people are saying he's a genius because he's going to destroy the other side. He's going to fill up their blocks or whatever he's proposed. I mean, what he's proposing to do. Like, it never got to that level before. In the results, it's not even close.
If that's what they're saying, I'd agree, because it does seem like he's taking it to a new level. But it's an old game, but he is taking it to a new level. Yeah. But I saw chatter about it being a new game, and it's not a new game.
Okay. It's good to clear this all up, because I mean, yes, this is good to clear, because a lot of people, there's so many different things going on. But continue. So continue on the beat. You're about to go into the Bcash now.
Okay, so here we're looking at the Bitcoin Cash chain, and you could see here these Bitcoin ABC nodes. Those are the regular, if you want to call it the regular Bitcoin Cash nodes that Roger's always supported, and Jihan. And you can see that there's almost 1,200 of those. And then you got 160 of the Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, which is fake Satoshi's nodes, going by his set of rules that he believes this chain should be under. So like we've been saying, that in Bitcoin, those other projects that threaten Bitcoin, were different because they never had any real hash power. But this one seems to have hash power behind it, because let's go look at the hash power in Bitcoin Cash here. And you could see here this SV pool. That's Craig, right? That's Fake Satoshi's pool. And he's got 16%, over 16% of the total network hash rate in Bitcoin Cash. And he's also involved somehow as like a CTO or something like that of BMG pool that has 11%. And in the video that he just did with Tone Vase, he said that he's got the CoinGeek pool on his side with almost 32%. So if you add up these numbers here, you're getting real close to 60, 59, 60% there. So we've never seen this kind of hash rate supporting an opposing set of rules before.
Okay, that is, so we've got this hash rate supporting an opposing set of rules. Now they could just fork off, do their own thing, and peacefully go their way and say clearly we're the real Bcash because we got the most support. But that's not what they're going to do. There's going to be this fork. ABC's going one way, they're going this way, and then they're going to try to destroy ABC.
I don't think so, because it's not forking. They're not forking the blockchain, right, where there would be a coin split. And you could see this here in the see, do I have it here? Yeah, here's the chart of Bitcoin Cash's price history since December of last year. And so right here on November of this year, November 1st, you see there's a spike in the price here. This is because people thought that Fake Satoshi was going to split the chain, and they were going to get two coins. They were going to get the Bcash and the SV coin. Then when they found out that they weren't, they now understand, it was around November 7th, they understood that it wasn't going to be a coin split. It's just kind of almost like a corporate takeover, right, of the chain. It's just like forcing in these new set of rules, and it's not going to be a split. That's when people, looks like they started selling it to get out of it, because they couldn't take advantage of the split.
Well, I think people think there's not going to end up being two coins now, because ABC is splitting from the main Bcash. Like this was a scheduled fork. November 15th is a scheduled fork. It is the ABC fork date. That's the day they were changing their rules also. And I
think they were just going to do a block size increase, but it wasn't enough for Fake Satoshi. He wants like unlimited blocks.
Yes, this is true. But they were also adding something that was ICO friendly. Like they are going to, whatever you want to call it. Bitmain, head of Bitmain is going to, Rocketman Wu, is going to fork it off. They are forking it off. They are, I mean, ABC is forking it off.
Well, they were just going to like fork themselves, right? From what I understand, they were just doing a hard fork within their network to change their rules, just like they did in the past when they went from 8 meg blocks.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. That's what they're doing. That is what they're doing. But Fake Satoshi's is forking it his way. I mean,
no, he's just, from what I understand, the way I understand it, he's just taking whatever they're doing on the 15th and just running with that, but changing the rules in that network to meet his rules.
Okay, so
and then have the hash power to just to mine it his way.
But what is the hash war then? What is he planning? He's planning to mine empty blocks and stuff on the ABC side.
Okay, so if going back to this pie chart here, he said he's got the backing of these three pools, but then he said there's also some other pools that he could have. He hinted that some of these other pools would also be supporting his version of it, but they weren't, didn't want to be so public about it. So if he does have even more, besides this 60, if he can get another 15, he'd have 75% of the hash rate, right? Now, if he had 75% of the hash rate, he could use 50 of it to attack Bcash with the ABC Bcash with the Satoshi Vision, and then the other 25% he could mine on the ABC side, but just mine empty blocks. forcing, the people that were supporting that to never have a transaction go through.
Okay. So let's. Oh God, this is why they even.
Yeah, this is fun. Break out the popcorn, Adam. This is going to be fun to watch.
Yeah. So, but I do want to say this. Well, first of all, I want to say thanks to the super chat. Who sent Bitcoin is the modern day piggy bank. That is from James Delgarico. Pound that freaking like button. Pound that like button, James. Thank you very much. Okay, so there's a lot of bluster out there. So from what you see, you think that the SV people are going to get their way. That's the way.
Well, it looks like it to me. I'm real curious as to see how this turns out. But what are we fighting over here? I mean, this goes back to your question earlier. What is Bcash to begin with? Should it even be here anyway? Now, if you look at this chart here, this is a chart of hash rate in Bcash and Bitcoin since Bcash started in August of 2017. And you can see here with these numbers up here, as I point down here, I get that right on there. Okay, so you can see on the, the very beginning, Bcash had 4.85 exahashes when it very first started. Now today, as I point way over here on the far right, it's got 4.59 exahashes. It actually has less hash rate now than when it started 15 months ago. Okay, so what happened to this red line here represents the Bitcoin Cash hash rate. So this blue line is the Bitcoin hash rate. What happened to it? On that same day in August of 2017, Bitcoin had 6.4 exahashes, and today it's got 52. Okay, so while Bitcoin's hash rate went up over 8 times, Bitcoin Cash's hash rate has actually gone down. So when you hear these two miners, Jihan and Roger, scream and yell about how great Bitcoin Cash is, what do the miners in general think? Well, this chart here is telling you they're kind of quiet, right? They're too busy mining away. They got their own business just to take care of mining blocks, right? But the vast majority of miners is telling you Bitcoin is the real Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the real deal. Bitcoin Cash is a big heap of steaming garbage.
Okay. Now, if Fake Satoshi gets control of Bcash, if he gets his way, there's some that say he'll look toward Bitcoin next. And is it possible? What would he need? What type of backing would he need to do such a thing on Bitcoin?
Well, he'd need a lot. Yeah, he'd need a lot more support. He'd have to have support from the users, support from the nodes, it's support from the miners, and getting that kind of support in Bitcoin is not easy. That would be many times harder to do in Bitcoin than Bcash. I mean, because of this right here. Look at this chart. I mean, he's overtaking this hash rate way down here. Okay, so he's doing that. He's doing it pretty good. But taking over this hash rate up here, that is a whole nother game.
And that chart, it basically answers my question. I saw that chart earlier today also. So yeah, that answers it. It's a whole new league. It's a whole new, to try to attempt that with such a difference. So you don't see a bright future for Bcash. What are they fighting over? Is basically what your line was. What are they fighting over? That this thing you don't. Now again,
they're fighting over a big heaping steaming pile of garbage. I mean, look what the miners think of it. The miners think it's garbage. Otherwise, they'd throw more hash rate at it. So it's pretty much consensus that what they wanted to do did not make consensus. So Roger and Jihan stomped their feet and threw a temper tantrum and started their own chain. And obviously the miners in overall do not support it. And, the vast majority of users do not support it, and the vast majority of nodes do not support it.
All right, let's go move on to something that was brought up in that Tone-based video. And this is a quote from a guy named Ari. All alts, including forks and splits, are acts of war against Bitcoin and are going to be treated as such. If you're in this for the right reasons, join sharkpool.cash. And Satoshi seemed pretty keen on that. So what is this shark pool thing?
Well, I looked into this a little bit. They're trying to show that all these alts do not have the proper amount of hash rate securing their networks, which I agree, they don't. I've been talking to people about hash rate for well over 2 years now, how these other coins that people like to invest in, their money's not safe there. They could get attacked at any time. But because it never happened before, they all told me, oh, Rocky, you're worried about nothing. There's no financial incentive to do a 51% attack. And earlier this year, we saw 5 51% attacks on 3 different chains just a few months ago. And now there's this shark pool thing that's threatening all these other coins that don't have the hash rate that Bitcoin has. And so, I mean, if you think back to that chart I just showed about the Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin hash rate, I mean, you could see that even Bitcoin Cash would be susceptible to such an attack. But what's funny is on their website, they talk about paying out their miners. If you have some mining hardware, you could join this pool. And they talk about paying out their miners in Bitcoin, parentheses, BCH.
BCH. Exactly. Yes. So it's got some, I mean, yeah, maybe he has something to do with them. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's pretty funny because
it's pretty funny because he said all alts, including forks and splits, are acts of war against Bitcoin. There. I mean, but he's confused and thinks that Bcash is Bitcoin, I guess. That's the ironic part there. Is that Craig Wright, this dude, they think that forks are acts of war against Bitcoin, yet they are supporting a fork. I mean, they are supporting Bcash is an altcoin.
Yes, that's the hypocrisy, definitely. But also look at the hash rate. They're showing how the alts don't have the hash rate that Bitcoin has, the real Bitcoin. Okay, so they're trying to show how all these other chains are so vulnerable to attack when the chain that they call Bitcoin, BCH, they're calling Bitcoin, which is completely wrong. It doesn't have enough hash rate to secure its network, and it could be attacked in the same way. So, I mean, if you have a glass house, you shouldn't be throwing stones, right? And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. And so maybe some mysterious entity one day will come and attack them too. Who knows? I mean, I don't like this whole attack type of stuff. I think the outside of the crypto bubble, when people hear about this stuff, it's going to scare them away from cryptocurrency. I mean, they're going to think Bitcoin got hacked. Who knows what they're going to think? I don't think all these this bluster and threats, it's not good for the space. In the long term, everything will be fine, but this will cause some turbulence. And I don't see how this situation once November 15th passes and who knows what happens. I don't know why anyone would want Bcash at that point, to tell you the truth. But you know, people get into things for all sorts of different crazy reasons. We'll definitely see how it plays out. We'll see how it plays.
I don't know why anybody would want Bcash after seeing the chart I just showed. It's not secure. It's not secure. It doesn't have the hash power. It has less hash power now than it did 14, 15 months ago.
Bottom line there, people. Pound that freaking like button. Okay. Any thoughts on Bitmain? Who's a big player in all of this, obviously.
Well, you know, they were very important to the growth of Bitcoin's hash rate over the years, but then they kind of, you know, they turned to the dark side. They put all their chips behind Bcash, and so far they're massively losing that bet. And who knows, maybe this IPO that they're doing might bail them out if they can find people to invest. If not, they're done. But we really don't need Bitmain anymore. It was good that they were there when they were, because they're the ones that, you know, took the chance and started making these ASICs when no one else would. But now we do have several other companies making ASICs, and other ones that are, looking into making them, coming on board soon. So we really don't need Bitmain anymore. And since they turned their back on Bitcoin, the one cryptocurrency that made them millions or billions of dollars, wow, how could you do that to the coin that put you on the map? Just turn your back like that and go with this crazy idea that obviously the vast majority of miners do not support.
All right, let me bring up something that actually Laurie and Gamaroff kind of talked about it on my show, or maybe he told me before the show. I forgot now. But this is, again, something I think that some Bcash people are going to be throwing out there as FUD toward Bitcoin. Warning about the 2020 halving, actually, that miners will not want to mine Bitcoin after the 2020 halving. Have you heard about this this form of attack, this form of FUD?
No, but I mean, my own research shows that nobody's going to want to mine Bitcoin Cash after they're having. I mean, they're on the same schedule as Bitcoin, but
a little
because
bit before,
of their,
a little bit before, yeah.
Well, I mean, the same halving schedule, right? The same block height. They're going to have just like Bitcoin does, but they're way ahead on the block height because of their emergency difficulty adjustment, their EDA. When they first started, they had to have that kick in to lure the miners to come over, because to falsely make the coin profitable to mine. Otherwise, the miners wouldn't mine it, right? It's such garbage that they couldn't just have the difficulty adjust naturally. They had to lure the miners over with 50, 60, 70 blocks per hour, where it's only supposed to be 6, So that's how they got the hash rate in the beginning. And so by doing this, they produced all these blocks way ahead of schedule. And so now they're like over 6,800 blocks ahead of Bitcoin. So they're going to hit their halving about 2 months before Bitcoin does. So they're going to go from 12.5 to 6.15, whatever, 6.12, or
6.125. Yeah, whatever it is. They're going from 12. It's 12.5 now. It's 12.5 now. So it's
6.25. Yeah, 6.25. So they're going to go to 6.25 2 months before Bitcoin does. So who's going to mine Bitcoin Cash? I mean, at that point, if you're a miner, you're going to make so little money. I mean, unless because they either adjusted or got rid of. It's not even clear to me. They somehow did something with the EDA so it doesn't work so drastically anymore. And but they needed that in the beginning. If they don't have that, no miners will mine that coin, and so it will die off probably. I mean, even if it makes it that far, right? Who knows what's going to happen later this week? If it makes it through all this, how could anyone mine Bitcoin Cash for those 2 months when they had their halving first? I don't know.
By the way, going back to that shark pool thing, do you think that's actually going to happen? That there are going to be people hunting down these altcoins?
I hope so, because it vindicates what I've been saying for years, that these coins without the hash rate are not secure. I would not store a single penny on any of these other chains that don't have the hash rate securing them like Bitcoin does.
Bitcoin is the rock. It is the world reserve cryptocurrency, clearly, by that metric right there.
It is the gold standard of crypto.
Exactly.
The Bitcoin standard.
All right. What do we have here? There was one other question I had. Okay. Let's say SV. I mean, you probably don't care about this, but if SV wins, here's someone that says changing proof of work is somewhat of a nuclear option. I'd be reluctant to use it, but it always has been considered the option of last resort in case a large portion of miners become hostile. So we should be ready. This is like an ABC fan talking. So could you see that happening?
Well, maybe. But again, I mean, this is a whole lot of worry and work to save Well, I mean, what are you trying to save here? A big
The
heaping style a pile of garbage, right? So, I mean, what's the point, really? I mean, but hey, if you could get that to work, more power to you.
from their perspective, I mean, there's a battle to be the real Bcash. I mean, it means something to people in that community to be the real Bcash. And so the ones who support Bitmain and King of the Trolls and that side, the ABC guys, they want to come out of this victorious. They don't want to see fake Satoshi run with the Bcash flag. So I mean, to that, I mean, I mean, you've got the long-term thinking perspective. You're saying that in the end of the day, this is not going to last. It's going to get it. It's not going to exist basically in the future. It's doomed to failure. And I mean, you basically believe that with all the altcoins. Then they're all doomed to failure. Then.
Well, most likely, yeah. I mean, I see them as they're really just test beds. Litecoin did have a use case there for a short while. You know, they were kind of the silver to Bitcoin's gold because they were this cheaper, faster transaction, right? Because their block time was 2.5 minutes as opposed to 10 minutes on Bitcoin. But now we've got Lightning. Lightning is instant. Okay, so if you want small transactions to be cheap and fast, there's nothing more fast than instant. And the transactions I've been doing on Lightning are extremely cheap or free. In fact, I bought these with Lightning Bitcoin, these embroidered patches from a company in England that had a campaign going that if you bought their patches with Lightning transaction, they'll double your order for free. So I took advantage of that, and I opened a channel with their node, so it didn't have to do any hopping, and it was a free transaction. And the other transactions I did from the same node were from the same channel. There were some hops, so I had to pay on each one of those. I paid about 13/1000ths of a penny. So, you know, that totally destroys Litecoin's silver to Bitcoin's gold. Now the only use case for Litecoin is a test bed for new releases. Once they've been tried and tested over and over again on test beds without any value, they could go to Litecoin, which does have some value, before it goes to Bitcoin, just like Segwit did. And they kind of got Lightning like right around the same time.
All right, now final question for me, and then you can just take over. And I know you've got some other things to say. Going back to the basic formation, when the reason the Bcash came about originally was the big blocks. They wanted big blocks. Bitcoin did not want to. They wanted to take it slow, to say the least. What do you think that now he wants it to even be larger blocks? Do you see a point in all this? Do you see in tremendous blocks? I mean, it seems like Bitcoin is just doing fine with its small blocks.
Well, you can't have big blocks and have a decentralized network like Bitcoin. It's impossible. If you understand fourth grade math, you understand that you can't have the block size big enough to handle worldwide mass adoption of your coin. If that's your end goal, if that's your end game, worldwide mass adoption, which is what Roger said his end game is, you would have to have, I mean, even to think about worldwide mass adoption, I mean, even a percentage of 1% of every retail outlet in the world accepting your coin and people actually using it to buy things there, you would probably need about 100,000 transactions per second just to even think about going there. Well, to do 100,000 transactions per second by just keep doubling the block size, you'd have to go to 32 gigabyte blocks. Okay, so imagine the nodes having to download a 32 gigabyte block, validate all the transactions in that block, and then propagating that block to 9 or 10 other nodes. That's a process that would take about 7 or 8 hours. But wait a minute, blocks are coming in every 10 minutes. Okay, so I mean, it's fourth grade math. So anybody who understands fourth grade math understands you cannot go to worldwide mass adoption by purely doubling the block size. So you have to do it off chain. You have to go second layer solution, Lightning, or sidechain solution like Liquid, which Liquid is live on the network now.
All right, that's a good explanation of that situation. And yes, Fake Satoshi also says it's going to be. I mean, he was pretty adamant about that when Tone Vays was interviewing him, that that's what he wants it to be, is worldwide money. That was.
Yeah, but he doesn't want it to be decentralized. You know, decentralized is everything everything's decentralized, from the developers to the nodes to the miners, right? So he says, forget these Raspberry Pi nodes, right? There's thousands of them all around the world that's hard to shut down. He wants to have 3 or 4 data centers with, you know, $20,000, $30,000 computers running as nodes. That would work. That would work if you want to move 32 gig blocks around, but you're not decentralized. Now it's easy for some powerful government to come in and shut you down.
Well, you could see, with an ego like his, you can see why he doesn't want things. He wants to be the master there. He's definitely a person who at least enjoys the attention that all of this is bringing him. Okay, well, anything that we left out that you wanted to share about Bcash, about this fork situation, whatever you want to call this situation, or anything else you want to share?
I think that's about it about this, what's going on this week. I just want to reiterate about Segwit, right? If your wallet doesn't support Segwit, it's time to switch to a new wallet. Segwit has been out now for 13, 14 months. There's no reason why your wallet provider shouldn't be supporting Segwit addresses. They make your transactions smaller so that they cost you less when sending it, and it allows for more transactions to fit in the block. Segwit's actually a block size increase, right? Now, so what's the block size in Bitcoin right now? I'm going to turn it on you, Adam. Okay, I'm asking the questions now.
It's 2, right? It's 2, not 1.
What's the maximum block size that a node will accept in Bitcoin right now if the node came out, you know, after Segwit was released?
I thought it doubled the block size, right?
The maximum block size is 4 megs that a node will accept. That the node will accept as a valid block. The problem is with Segwit that we have now, which is I'm calling kind of like Segwit 1.0, you cannot build a block bigger than 2 megs or about 2 megs. I've seen blocks a little bit bigger than 2 megs so far, and still have it compatible with the old nodes. See, that's what Segwit is. It's a block size increase, but it's a soft fork. It's compatible with all the other older nodes that are still running older software. So now when we get Segwit 2.0 with Schnorr signatures, then the blocks will be able to get to be almost 4 megs. But a node today will validate a block that's up to 4 megs. We just need Segwit 2.0 to do it.
That's a pretty good explanation of something that Schnorr's, I can't even pronounce it, signatures provides there. I didn't know it was providing that. That it was through that you're calling it Segwit 2.0 basically. Okay.
Yes, Segwit. What I call Segwit 2.0 will be Segwit with Schnorr signatures.
Okay, yeah.
We think nothing's set in stone yet. They're still working on it, and hopefully there's going to be something out soon. But yeah.
Okay, but I mean, right now blocks aren't very full anyway. So, I mean, but they're preparing for the future. They're preparing for the future, which is good.
Well, I think 2019 could be another bull run year like 2017. And if it is, we could have another surge of new people into the space, which caused that backlog last time that drove transaction prices way up. Bitcoin's much more prepared for it now, but if you're not using Segwit, you're not going to be taking advantage of these bigger blocks. You're going to be paying more for your transactions. If you're sending more than 1 transaction every month or so, you should be using Segwit. Use Segwit.
All right, that's the bottom line. Use Segwit. Well, I've got Rocky's contact information below so check out the links below. There's all sorts of other stuff. The shark pool stuff I linked to below. Some stories about the Tone Vays video. All of that stuff. If you want to keep up with this Bcash drama, but I think the charts that Rocky provided really do tell the story, and that Bitcoin is the gold standard, as he said. Well, anyway, thanks a lot, Rocky.
Pound that like button.
Pound that like button, everybody. Well, we'll be back tomorrow with the regular show. I hope that everybody enjoyed this special. You never know when the special guests are coming on. I post a new show here every single day. I'm Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister. This is Rob Meister. Remember to subscribe to the channel, like this video, share this video. Check out the links below. I'll say hi to you guys in the chat. Bye-bye. See ya.